welcome to sunny England. The weather is grey, the skies are dreary, all the other way round, and the kids are on holiday from school. So I've had to find creative ways to entertain them so that I don't feel like I want to force my face through my desk. Now, all that aside, today I want to talk about pre-orders. So specifically, if you're releasing an ebook on Amazon, Kindle, or any of the other ebook stores, you have the opportunity to run a pre-order campaign. And we're going to talk a bit today about why you might want to do that, the benefits of it, and of course, how to go about doing it. As a quick aside, I'm going to put some links underneath this video, all about how to build up towards a book launch, whether you're doing pre-launches or not. There's a few things you need to have in place to make sure you get the best results. So check for the links underneath this video. Like I've got the cat following me. So until recently, I didn't really get why you'd want to do a pre-order. So if your book's ready, then release it. If it's not ready, don't release it. I didn't see what the benefits of having a pre-order phase were, and that was, of course, until I tried it. So recently, for my first sci-fi novel, Exit Protocol, I was invited to be part of a sci-fi multi-author box set where we all teamed up together, submitted a novel, and then cross-promoted it. And we had a pre-order phase that lasted for a few weeks, and we ended up hitting the USA Today bestseller list, thanks in no small part to our pre-order campaign. And the reason for this is when you run a pre-order campaign, all those sales that you make during the pre-order phase get reported on the day the book launches. So let's say you make 100 sales during pre-order. On the release day of your book, when it goes live for people to buy and read it, the ebook stores will report those sales that you made during pre-order on the day of release. So if you're aiming to hit a bestseller list, and for example, the USA Today, you generally need to have at least 6,000 sales, you can have a pre-order phase where you can make as many of those sales as possible during pre-order, and then they all get reported on day one of release. So the more pre-order sales you have, the easier it becomes to hit that list. And that's what a lot of authors do with multi-author box sets, or when they have their own box sets and they get big deals with advertisers like BookBub and they run loads of Facebook ads. It's helpful to have that pre-order phase to help take some of the slack. So it's like a safety net. You can build up some of those sales ahead of time. So that's very, very cool. But another good reason for pre-orders is really just reducing stress. So if you know that you want to launch your book on a specific date, this is very difficult to do. So for example, on Amazon, when you upload your manuscript and your cover and your description and all that lovely stuff, it can take between 24 and 72 hours to actually go live, where you can get a link to it and actually people can buy it. So if you want to release on a particular day of the week or a particular day of the month, this can make life a little bit tricky. Having a pre-order, on the other hand, means you can release it at 8 AM local time on a specific date. So this makes life super easy if you're running a launch with specific dates in it. So even if your book's finished, even if you could upload it today, it could be useful, it could reduce your stress if you set a pre-order date so that you know everything is in place and ready to go on the date the book goes live. So there's lots of good reasons to do pre-orders, and I just want to give one word of warning, and that's if you don't have your manuscript ready in time, so you'll get a deadline if you use the pre-order phase. On Amazon and the other ebook stores, they'll expect your finished manuscript to be uploaded and locked in by a specific date. If you miss that date, you could get kicked out of the pre-orders program, potentially even permanently. So that can be a big issue. So if you're not sure that you can get your book ready in time, then maybe pre-orders aren't for you. But if you know you've got all of your ducks in a row, if you're trying to hit a bestseller list and you want to reduce stress during a launch, then pre-orders can be extremely useful. So today, we're going to look at exactly how to do them. But before we get into that, quick thing I have to go do. I'm here visiting my tattooist to get this finished off. If you've seen some of the previous videos, you'll have seen when I got this tattoo started. Really very cool, but it's only half finished. So today we're going to get this finished off, and then we're going to jump right into all the cool stuff about pre-orders. So let's get going. All right, tell me about this monster needle.
Well, it has 23 needles. They're layered on top of each other like this. Yeah, it's gonna hurt a lot, so.
Oh, super. Right, tattoo is all done, and I've got to keep this wrap on it for the next 24 hours or so, and it's getting very late, so we're going to pick up on the pre-orders tomorrow. Go find something to film, so I'll see you in just a second.
Boxes are defeating, purpose always fleeting. I pose questions to the ceiling like an answer gonna come. Truth is too revealing, life is easy at concealing. All emotions till they start on your heart going numb. I should be in drive more, I just wanna feel alive more. I feel...
One thing I did forget to mention about pre-orders is when you set one, you can upload a placeholder file. So essentially just like a dummy manuscript for your book. So if it's not finished yet, you can upload something as a placeholder. Now, thing to bear in mind with this is whatever you upload, that page count is going to show. So we found this for our box set that we did last month. We had a pre-order phase and we uploaded a dummy placeholder file that was only 75 pages long. Now, not necessarily an issue in itself, but when someone's buying a box set of 13 novels in this case, and they see 75 pages, it's a little bit odd. So we kind of had to mess around a little bit to get that placeholder changed. So that's just something to bear in mind. All right, visiting horses. I'm supposed to make sure that they have water. So we'll see. Hello. This is the small one, Teddy, and that's Mel. And yeah, she likes to charge at people. So we're just going to be a little bit careful. Make sure I don't get trampled. Yeah, I'm going to put water in it. You just have to wait. I have to get the... Yeah, your face is really large. Don't eat my phone. Thank you. Right, horses have water. Mission accomplished. So we've covered some of the reasons why you might want to do pre-orders and some of the benefits of them. And they can be very useful if you're trying to get a large number of sales reported during a specific window, or you want to have a release date on a specific day. It also kind of alleviates some of the stress of getting everything set up and ready to go and then having to wait 1 to 3 days for Amazon to make your book live. So it solves a lot of fairly minor problems, and it can be very powerful. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to fill this up, jump in the car, and we'll go hop on the computer and I'll show you exactly what to do to get this set up.
I see the last me I ever will be. That got me asking if living this lightly is that been the right thing, or should I been a little bit more focused on the place that my feet needed to go? And as they go past me, I see the last me that I ever will be. That got me asking if living this lightly.
Okay, we're at the computer and I have logged into my KDP dashboard at kdp.amazon.com, but this is how to do a pre-order. I'm going to show you how to do it on Amazon, and then I'm going to show you a cool tool that you can use to get your book everywhere else, and that's called Draft to Digital, and that will distribute your books everywhere else. So for Amazon, I always recommend going direct, because that means that you can then get into KDP Select, Kindle Unlimited if you choose to, and use something like Draft to Digital for all the other stores. Might also be worth going direct to Kobo, because then you can get access to their regular author promos. But generally speaking, these guys make the whole process very painless, and it's very, very similar to how you do it on KDP. So we're going to do Amazon. I'll show you what all the boxes mean and how to fill them in, and then basically just copy that process and do it over here for all the other stores that you want to go into. So first of all, we're going to just fill out these boxes that I've already done in advance, so you don't have to watch me type and make loads of spelling mistakes. But we're going to have to start off with the language. English is the default. If it's in a different language, just choose from the drop down on here. And then it's the book title. So you've got title here and subtitle. Key thing to remember here is you're only allowed to put in these boxes what is on your cover. So some people like to kind of try and put keywords in their title, which is a good idea for SEO purposes, so you can get indexed by the search engine a little bit better. But if the keywords you want to include aren't printed on your cover, you can't put them in the book title or subtitle. So that's just something to remember. You can put them in the series name. So my series name is just Hal Shepherd, but I've added Sci-Fi thrillers there as well, just to get that keyword in there, and it's book number 1. So then with subsequent books that come out, they will be linked. So I'll just show you a quick example of what that looks like. So for my other series, which is a thriller,
you'll see here we've got the title. I'm just going to zoom in a bit. So this is the title here. This is the series name, so you can see I've put those keywords in there so that people can find them a bit better. And then because it's linked by the series name, all the other books will be linked as well underneath, which makes life really, really easy, so that when someone finishes reading book 1, they get an automated message on their reading device that says, hey, download the next book, and the link will appear, and it's all nicely connected together on Amazon, so that it really encourages that read through. So if you're writing in a series, or even if you're not writing in a series, but you can somehow link your books together using the series information, that's really, really cool. Then edition number, if it's a new edition, you can put that in there, otherwise leave that blank, and then fill in your author details. So I wrote this book, so my name is in it. If you've co-written it, or you want to put a pen name on there and have your real name at the same time, then you can add other authors and other contributors in here. So authors, editors, forwards, illustrators, whatever you want to do. I keep it simple. I'm just going to have my name on it. Description. So Amazon's fairly rubbish book description box here is a bit of a pain. Now, there is a tool called Author Central at authorcentral.amazon.com and .co.uk, where you can go in and there's a slightly better text editor which you can use, but you can't use that until the book's live, so you have to make do with this tiny little box where you've got to put your description in. So I've got mine in here. So in the 2400s, with its cities overflowing with immigrants, Earth shuts down its borders. The universe's biggest corporation plans to take over the planet, and only one man stands between it and total domination. It's my cinematic voice. So I've decided in here, I'm going to make the first 2 sentences bold, and we do that by having the B tag there and the /B tag where you want bold to end. And that's just going to make those first 2 sentences bold. The rest is just going to be plain paragraph text. I may come in here later on and add some more fluff and bump and marketing stuff underneath. But for now, I'm just going to leave it as it is. This is the bare book description with a tiny little bit of formatting, just to keep it simple, because it's not very pleasant editing in this tiny little box anyway. And then once the book is live and it's on pre-order, I can go in and I can change it if I want to. Publishing rights. If you've written the book, you want to be clicking I own the copyright. If it's a public domain work, which it probably isn't, then you click that one. There's a whole load of issues with publishing public domain stuff on Amazon. Don't generally want to do it. So if it's your own book, put that at the top there. I own the copyright. Done. And then keywords. So this is where it gets fiddly again, is with keywords and categories. Now, the way Amazon works is there's a couple of ways that people find books. And the first way is they can type something into the search bar. So they might be looking for a romantic thriller, for example, and then these will pop up. So if your book is a romantic thriller, you may want to have a think about how you can tie in with that keyword. Now remember, there's a lot of competition here. So if I type in romantic thriller, I've got 40,000 results to go with. So if I try maybe romantic thriller novels, there's only 10,000 results, so much lower competition. So I may want to use romantic thriller novels instead of just using romance or romantic thriller, because unless you're kind of going to be selling dozens or even hundreds a day, ranking for those super broad keywords is going to be very difficult. So you want to choose some keywords that are a little bit more narrow, and to do that, I use a tool called Publisher Rocket. And the guy who founded this company, Dave Chesson, he runs a website called kindlepreneur.com, very, very cool. And this is a fantastic tool for making this very easy. So instead of having to do those manual searches that I just showed you, you can click on keyword search, type in kind of like your base keyword, which would be science fiction for ebook, and then this piece of software will just find you hundreds and hundreds of potential keyword phrases here. So you want to go through and analyze the ones that look good. So for example, the broad keyword science fiction, if I analyze that, I'll see that it's got like 19,000 searches a month, but there's 50,000 competitors. So it's going to be pretty hard to rank for that. So is science fiction romance as well? That's also pretty high. That's got fewer people in competition with you, but it's still a high competitive score because those people who are ranking are selling a lot of books. And one thing to bear in mind with these keywords here, these 7 that you get to choose from, is you're not allowed to use brand words. You're not allowed to use anything related to the price of your book, and you're not allowed to use kind of any other author names. So I couldn't use science fiction Kindle books because it's got the word Kindle in it. That'll get flagged. I'm not allowed to do that, which is a bit of a pain. But I may want to have a look at some of these other ones. So science fiction books, for example, again, that's far fewer searches, but there's still quite high competition. So you want to kind of go down here and find some that are going to be relevant to your book. So this one here, for example, science fiction space war, has only got 11,000 competitors, and it's still got a decent number of searches every month. So you want to go through, find 7, and pop them into this box here. You kind of want a mix of some high traffic and lower traffic ones to try and rank for as many different ones as possible. But it depends on your sales. So the keywords themselves aren't necessarily going to get you more sales by themselves. You need to be driving traffic and getting those sales, and the good keywords will just make that last longer and help you get indexed better over time. So it's something that you can do right now that makes a big difference over a longer period. Same with categories as well. Publisher Rocket has a category tool, so you can go in here and then scroll down to where science fiction is, which is here. I can go check that out. And then in here, it's going to list out all the different categories. And the particular function that I'm interested in is how many sales is it going to take to get to sort of number 10. So the ranking and the number of sales to get into the top 10 is going to be useful because I know that I want to be able to rank in this category so that I can get a bit more exposure. So as long as it's a category with a decent amount of traffic, that's going to be really useful. So I can filter that, have a look at how many sales it's going to take to get to number 10. So where it says here 1, that probably means that it's not a very high traffic category. So I want to kind of go a bit higher than that, but I don't want to go up to here. So with the broad category science fiction and fantasy, I'm going to have to be selling nearly 1,000 a day to get to number 10, which is no good. So let's scroll down. I want to look for something that's a bit more kind of manageable. So maybe sort of around the 100 sales mark so that I know that if I do a promo, I can rank in the top 10. That's going to be fine. So looking for science fiction ones, military, genetic engineering, loads of stuff in here. Now, not all of these categories are going to be selectable in your dashboard because they only have the standard publishing BISAC categories at this point. But if you find something in here or from manual searching that looks really good, all you need to do is email the KDP support people. So within your dashboard, you can email them, or from Author Central, you can email them and ask them to manually add you to that particular category that you want. So that's really cool too. So I've chosen these 2, which look pretty good. If I want to change them later, that's absolutely fine too. Just don't put them in the broad categories. Try and narrow it down as much as you can. Then onto age and grade range. So if it's a children's book or a young adult book, you want to fill this out. Otherwise, just leave it. For pre-order, I've set the release date here, which gives me plenty of time to start building up a launch team. So because I'm starting from scratch and I don't have a sci-fi readership, I want to give myself plenty of time to build that launch team before the book goes live. So I want a big group of people on my email list who have read the book and who want to leave a review. I want some people who are excited about buying the book. I don't want to just put the book out there and then it do nothing. I want to be able to get reviews through, get sales through, and kind of hit the ground running. So I need some time to do that. If I already had the launch team in place, you know, for the next book, hopefully this will be the case, then I'd set a shorter window of time, maybe a week or 2, but I'm going to give myself extra time to build up that pre-order list. And I'm going to do some videos on here about the steps you need to take before you publish, before you launch, so that you can really hit the ground running, get loads of sales through, get loads of reviews through as well. I'm going to do some videos on those. So if you want to make sure you get those videos, just hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell underneath this video, and I'll make sure that you get those. And now on to the next step is content. So this is where you can upload the manuscript and the cover if you choose. So it's optional at this point. For pre-order, you can say, I don't have the finished manuscript right now, but as long as you get it up there before that deadline, then you'll be absolutely fine. If you don't meet the deadline, they can kick you out of the pre-orders program entirely, which is not cool. And obviously people who have pre-ordered it are going to be disappointed. So in my case, my book is finished and proofread, but I want to go in and add some more detail to one particular chapter. I need to add in maybe a few paragraphs, up to half a chapter's worth of stuff that needs putting in there after I got some early feedback from people that something was a little bit missing early on. That's fine. I'm going to go in, I'm going to do that. So I want to put my final manuscript up later. I'm not going to upload it now. Now, it does mean that people won't be able to do the look inside and preview it, but I should have the manuscript ready in a week or two. So at that point, I'm going to upload it. So for now, I'm going to say no. And when I'm happy to upload the final one, I will, so that people can click on the cover and read sort of like the first 10% of it. So if you have a finished manuscript, you can upload it now. If you have a half finished manuscript and the first 10% looks fine, then you can upload that as well and swap out the final one later on. Completely up to you. So just decide which you'd like to go for and then go for it. Then the ebook cover. So this has been already done in advance. You kind of do want to have a cover if you can. Otherwise, you'll pretty much just get a auto-generated one, which looks pretty ugly. Now, we can't preview it because the manuscript file hasn't been uploaded. So that's not a problem. When I do upload it, I can click on Previewer, make sure everything looks okay, and then we're good to go. ISBN, generally speaking, ebooks don't need ISBNs. They get given one by each store automatically. You can use your own ISBNs, but just bear in mind they're quite expensive. You don't really need them, but you do need them for paperbacks if you want to get your books ordered through kind of retail stores. So save up your ISBNs for the paperbacks is my recommendation, unless you have a strong reason for using them for ebooks as well. So you'll get given an auto one anyway, so I wouldn't worry about it. I leave them blank personally. And then I put my publisher name in there, if you have one. If you don't have one, you can leave that blank too. And then the final step is pricing, where we're going to set the price. So first step here is to decide, do we want this book in KDP Select? And that's the exclusivity program that Amazon offers. And in return for agreeing that you won't put the book out on other channels, on other platforms, Kindle will make your book available in Kindle Unlimited and Prime Reading, which means people can borrow the book and you get paid for each page read. So that can, in a lot of cases, almost double the amount of money that you make from Amazon. And seeing as Amazon, for a lot of people, is sort of 60 to 80% of their sales, if they're then adding on KDP Select, it can make a big difference. Other people prefer to be wide, so they're available everywhere. It's entirely up to you. There's no right or wrong answer. It depends entirely on your circumstances. But I know that for me, I'm going to be using some Amazon ads once this is ready to go. And I know that Amazon ads perform a lot better when the book's in KDP Select. So I'm going to tick that box. It's only a 90-day enrollment period. So if you change your mind, you can come out of it later and start building up your sales wide as well. Territories, generally, you're going to be available worldwide. If not, fill in the boxes. And then you want to look at pricing. So if the manuscript had been uploaded, I could use their pricing support tool where they'd give me an idea of what price range I need to be looking at. But I already know this because I've researched it. And we're looking at sort of $2.99 to $5.99 tends to be where sci-fi sits, similar to other genres as well. And because this is the first book in the series, I'm going to price it a bit lower. So I'm going to go for $2.99. Subsequent books probably going to be $4.99. So that's generally what I go with. So I want to click the 70% royalty rate. I want to put in my prices in here, $2.99, which is the minimum I can charge at 70% royalties. And then the other marketplaces will autofill. And what I've done in some cases is where some countries come out with a weird number, like this was £2.13 or something. I've changed it either up or down to a round number just to make it look a little bit prettier. So that's just something that I do. You can just skim through this, make sure everything looks fine. And then you're pretty much good to go. You can decide if you want to enroll the book in Kindle Matchbook, which is where if someone buys the paperback version, they can get a discount on the ebook. So I usually like to do that as well. So I've made that 99 cents. And then I always allow lending as well. So people can buy the book and they can lend it to their mum or their brother or their sister. And then that's more readers for me who then might go on to buy the other books. So I'm always happy with that. And then finally, submit for pre-order. Just make sure you're happy with the terms and conditions, which is basically saying, make sure your manuscript's uploaded by the deadline or we'll kick you out. And if you're happy with that, click on submit for pre-order and you are basically good to go. So it's done, and that link should then go live within the next couple of days. And as I said, if you are doing pre-orders on other stores as well and you want to use a distributor like these guys, it's pretty much the same process. So you just upload the file if you have one, fill in the title, the language, the series, the keywords, the categories, etc., the description. Their number one tip here from these guys, now Draft to Digital have said quite plainly, if you don't have the final manuscript ready now, don't upload a manuscript file. And because they are kind of integrated with dozens of different stores, it gets a bit complicated when they're swapping out placeholder files for real ones. So they advise you, if you're not 100% happy with your final manuscript, don't upload it yet. And that's just a little difference there, but otherwise everything else is pretty much the same. Fill in the boxes like we just did, research a few keywords and categories, and you are good to go. And that's how to set up a pre-order. So it's largely the same as a regular release. You're just setting it in advance. And as we said, the benefits for this could be building up sales ahead of time. Also taking some of the stress away when you want to get a book published on a specific day at a specific time, which can be very useful for when you're doing your launch promos. And speaking of launch promos, in the next video, we're going to be talking all about the things you need to do ahead of your book launch to make sure that you get the best results possible. So if you want to get those videos, make sure you click subscribe underneath this video, click the notification bell so that you know when the new videos are available, and put some links underneath this video as well where you can learn a lot more about building up an audience ahead of a launch or promo, building up that email list, and the emails that you need to send people to get the best results. So check out those links, hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you all again very, very soon.